everybody, and welcome to another episode of T-Shirt Driving. We're here in the Polestar, and I'm here today to talk a little bit about my global time attack experience. So I'm just driving around right now, but I've had a good amount of time since the event happened back in November to talk about the goods, the bads, the just in general of the conclusion of what happened. So overall, from that video, I got 9th place, or I placed 9th in enthusiast class out of 11. It was supposed to be 12 people, but somebody, I guess, didn't show up. So out of 11. So I wasn't the slowest, but clearly I wasn't the fastest either. I was only able to truly compete for one day, Saturday, before I discovered I had a bent wheel. Now, those Project 6GR wheels I've tracked for an entire season, and they absolutely have held up wonderfully. Now, the thing that I think contributed to bending the wheel was running the 255 tire, because it was definitely stretched on the 9.5-inch wheel. So I think if I was allowed to run my normal 265, I would have been fine and not had any problems. Since the track event, I have gotten new wheels. If you guys follow me on Instagram, you would have seen those by now. They are now the 10-spoke, and I'll get some photos of, or videos of those right now, and some B-roll for you guys to all see. And same dimensions, 19 by 9.5. Plus 42 offset, but this time around I am running a 275 tire in the front and a 265 tire in the rear. So I'm doing a reverse staggered setup on the Bridgestone RE71Rs. So let's talk about tires, about global time attack. So what I found from the event was, for street use, the Continental Contact Sport 6 was a great tire. I actually was very happy with it on the street. It was very quiet, had great grip, great wet and dry properties. However, on track, especially in the 255 tire, I just would lose grip towards the end of a good lap, and they would get greasy and I would slide off. I was going off track almost every time I was out there, which is very unusual for me. It may happen like the first 2 sessions because track is cold, tires are cold, you know, that typical thing, but it was pretty consistent, and my times were not as consistent as I am so used to with running the Bridgestone RE71Rs. Normally when I run the Bridgestone tires, I'm like 0.2 of a second off of my lap, so I'm very consistent with that. The Continentals, I was only able to do a 204.9, I believe, was my fastest lap time. And the last time I was there on the Bridgestone tires, without the intercooler, without the splitter, and without the muffler delete, I did a 203 flat, 203.02. And so the tires definitely made a difference in my track time, because with the new intercooler that I'm running, again, this is something that I have made work on my car, and I hope to get out there for some of you guys who want to purchase the largest intercooler for the 2-liter with the splitter combination. My top speed did increase from 111 miles an hour from the last time I was out there to 122 was the top speed that I saw coming out of the S's into the last corner. I think it's called Sunset. And so that's an 11 mile per hour difference in top speed. So, and it's at the end of the track, so there is no heat soak, which is wonderful. Like, I was absolutely, I went after a couple rounds and I got my thermal gun and was checking temperatures. The intercooler was at the hottest I saw 77 degrees, and granted it was pretty cool out there, but it did heat up throughout the day. So tires were my main thing. Being able to run a 265 tire is a huge benefit on this car, because it's 4,000 pounds, or darn well close to it. The other thing, I have to run over half a tank of gas or higher, because otherwise I get fuel starvation. So if I go below a half tank, coming into a high sweeper or after it, you'll get a stuttering sensation, and you can feel the power cutting out, and that is fuel starvation. I've experienced that on many other tracks, and way that I fix it is I constantly just fill up my gas tank. So that is one of the downsides of this car. I feel like if I were to go into the gas tank and put a wider absorption pickup, that would solve the case. Granted, that's more work than I want to do right now for the car. So yeah, now let's talk about the good. Not once, well, let me rephrase that. The only time I was really thinking about the brakes was when I first went out on track. And the reason why was because not only were the brakes a little bit more aggressive than I was used to, but I was able to brake way later and not feel any fade whatsoever. So after becoming accustomed to being on track again, because it had been since beginning of COVID, so I think February was the last time I was at Buttonwillow, the last time I was at the track. After getting those cobwebs shaken off of me on Friday, getting used to the braking performance, I wasn't even thinking about brakes because that's how good they were. For stopping a 4,000-pound car over and over and over again, I never once had issues with my brakes or felt, oh god, I can't stop. I did go into a couple corners really, really hot, braking, turning, and then I'd keep going straight because the tires gave out. Again, that's a tire issue, not a braking issue. But overall, the brakes were phenomenal. They also dissipated heat so well, and because the pads were so much thicker, 10% thicker, I believe it was, could have been 20%, I can't remember my numbers right now while driving, but the pad life, normally I would go through a set of pads or 75% of a pad in one track day. I went through 50% of the pad in 2 track days when you think about it, because I did Friday and Saturday. Time attack, I was still out there almost all 20 minutes as I could be for the events in themselves. So yeah, I was truly using them to their fullest, as hard as I could, and I didn't have to worry about them. It was a little funny driving through the pits and you hear clunk, 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 clunk because of the floating rotor. Granted, you may not have heard that noise now because I put in the anti-rattle clips for street driving right now, and I would say because there's only 5 instead of all 10, you sometimes get a little chatter, but it's not nearly the loudness as it was before. So you're still allowing a little bit of the float. It's like a semi-semi float. It's still a semi-float system now, but I could always convert it back once I start getting back into tracking. So with saying that, the future of t-shirt driving, let's talk about that a little bit. We're gonna go on hold with the track videos for a little while, and we're gonna go a little bit in a different direction with some detailing videos. The reason why is since COVID has started, I've been detailing a lot. That's been mainly my main profession from teaching. I'm no longer teaching right now. Granted, I just finished my master's as of 2 days ago, or 3 days ago on Friday. Was that Sunday? I don't even know what day it is today. But so with that being said, there's a lot of techniques and products that I've learned about that I would love to share with you guys and girls, for my viewers watching, to show how I clean a car outside, inside, different chemicals from waxes, sealants, ceramic coats, the purpose of what they do, how you apply them, how they actually work in the real world. I want to show you, the audience, these different techniques that I use every single day, and I've had plenty of time to practice and use these techniques on many vehicles, usually 5 to 6 vehicles a day. But I wanted to show you in detailed manner on the Polestar how it works, because black cars are, you see everything, and that's the biggest complaint I have about this color. When it's clean, it's beautiful. However, when it's dirty, you can tell. When there's a swirl mark, you can tell. When there's a scratch, you can tell. So that is what that is. But the splitter held up so well. Talking a little bit more about the global time attack again. Before and after photos of the same corner, you can see the front end is flatter due to the splitter and the downforce. Now, I did have to run the splitter without the chassis bracing per rules wasn't getting the most downforce that I should have been. However, it didn't pull the bumper off, so that's good news there. So for those of you wondering and curious if this 3-inch lip is going to pull your bumper off, no, because I was going 122 miles an hour without it being chassis supported, which when I plan to put it out for others, it is going to be chassis supported or chassis mounted. So you're going to have that added stability, that added security, and no, it has been tested. It does work in the track setup. Now, if you want it for street, it does look wonderful. I will hands down say that the carbon fiber look is astounding, and I absolutely love that. It definitely transforms the look of the front end, fills in that gap where it looks like it's missing 2 front teeth, and fills it in. So now the intercooler goes all the way down, fills up that space wonderfully, being about 8 5/8, I believe, in height and versus 6 inches. So, and the intercooler is also 5 inches in depth versus 3 inches. So there's a lot more mass going on there. The radiator and coolant temps, they were all right. They weren't as good as I was hoping. I still saw 230 for my coolant temps on the track, and I got a little nervous with that. I never saw the light, but I did put on the heater at one point, and I never saw any issues of it going beyond 230. So I think that's just kind of where it's going to run. Me actually monitoring the temperatures now, but I didn't go over that. I don't know about hotter days and stuff like that. But again, it's going to be a little while till I get back on track. I'm just going to take a little break right now, as my life is going to be changing a little bit in the next coming months. So that's all I can say. It's for the good, but you know, you have to put my finances in other areas. So that's what I wanted to share with all of you. Again, thank you so much for following along, and you guys can follow again on Instagram at T-shirt driving. And apparently people don't know how to drive where I'm at and don't understand a merge. Thank you. Sorry about that, as I'm trying to end the video. And so yeah, I will be posting a lot of detailing videos. I'll be showing more details of how the car is set up, so you can see how it is. I'll be giving you updates on the reverse staggered setup. Currently, I've been driving on it for about 500 miles. I've seen no ill effects, no lights, no weird noises. The vehicle accelerates the same, brakes the same, turns the same. I don't see, again, traction control having issues. Again, it's a 275/35/19 and a 265/35/19. So the difference between front and rear is 0.3 of an inch. So 26.6 inches versus 26.3 inches. Being that the car weighs so much in the front as well, and with tire pressures, the fronts are definitely going to wear out faster than the rear, and it'll kind of become the same eventually. But yeah, I'll let you guys know everything that's happening. The paddles, oh, I almost forgot about that. The paddle shifters, I like them. The KT4 paddle shifters worked really well. I didn't have any issues with them on track. I did 3 sessions all of Friday with them, 3 sessions using the manual mode, and then for Saturday, and then the rest in Sport Plus mode on Saturday, which was 2 more sessions, and I called it that. But I really enjoy using them because they're just right there, they're ergonomic, and they feel really good when you engage them. The automatic transmission is an automatic transmission, as those of you know. It shifts quick. It's not the fastest thing out there, but it's pretty nice. I only had 1 issue with downshifting once on the track when I broke really, really hard from, I'd say, 101-ish miles an hour down to around 40, where when I was downshifting, for some reason, the transmission just threw me into 8th gear, and it ruined that lap. That's the only thing, but that had more to do with the ECU software, not the paddle shifters. So with that, ending the video now. I will see you guys on the next one. Thank you for sticking around with all my blabbering, and I will see you guys next time. Thank you.